Time now for business. Kate Moody joins us, starting with the reaction to Facebook's decision to block news content for its users in Australia.
Yeah, there's growing outrage around the world, really, and the threat of more repercussions in a number of ways. This is a move that was taken in protest over a draft law which would force internet companies to pay publishers for content that appears on their platforms. While Google has been announcing deals with some Australian media outlets, Facebook took the opposite route. The Australian government said it would not be intimidated into backing down on its legislation, which is expected to be approved by the Senate in the coming days. British lawmakers, meanwhile, accused Facebook of acting like a bully. The UK's news media trade group echoed those concerns, while analysts say the move underscores the need for cooperation among countries as they try to regulate tech giants. Take a listen.
Internet users will also assess what Facebook has done here. I mean, you, on the one hand, keep hearing lobbyists and representatives of the company saying, we're in favor of freedom of expression. We should not take content down unnecessarily. But here, even if they admit that it is a small percentage of their revenues, they do not want the Australian proposed law to touch their bottom line, i.e. their revenues, their money. And that's why they're fine to just limit access to information for people, particularly young people who we know access the news through social media. And, I'm not worried that Australia will not find a solution. I think that, people will find access to news on the original websites. There may be new services springing up. We've heard competitors jumping in and trying to, take the space that others might leave. But I think it really shows how willing these huge corporate giants are to push back against democratically elected governments. And that is something that should really concern us.
Let's check in on the day's trading action now. The major European indices closed lower, losses of over 1% in both London and Milan. The Paris CAC 40 was down about 2/3 of a percentage point. Wall Street also closed lower, the Nasdaq underperforming as tech giants lagged. Walmart shares, meanwhile, fell 6.5% as it reported strong sales but disappointing profits. And the world's largest retailer forecast both sales and profit growth would slow this year. The number of Americans claiming jobless benefits rose last week, underscoring the ongoing weakness of the labor market. 861,000 new applications were reported across the country. It's the highest number in over a month. More than 18 million people are receiving some kind of benefits. That includes those who are covered by emergency pandemic support. Some of those measures are due to expire in mid-March. Lawmakers are debating proposals to extend them further. Economists expect the pace of hiring to remain uneven as the pandemic continues to spread and restrictions remain in place. Aerospace giant Airbus has described the pandemic as the most severe crisis to ever face the industry, as it reported €1 billion in losses last year. Air France-KLM, meanwhile, lost €7.1 billion last year. The Franco-Dutch airline says it expects to slash 6,000 more jobs in the coming years. That's on top of the more than 8,000 jobs that it cut in 2020. With prospects for recovery increasingly far off, recruitment in the sector has plummeted, and the pandemic is crushing hopes for thousands of young people who dreamed of a career in the skies. Maria Sofos has the story.
A year ago, 26-year-old Perrine was on course to make her childhood dream of becoming a flight attendant a reality. Then COVID-19 struck and her hopes were shattered.
Depuis novembre, j'ai postulé nulle part. En janvier, j'ai commencé à postuler dans les assurances et dans des métiers administratifs parce que je vois que la situation ne s'améliore pas et on ne sait pas si c'est pour plusieurs mois, plusieurs années.
It's here at this training centre for aviation professionals near Paris that hundreds of apprentices like Perrine normally begin their career paths. Currently, though, most of the 8,000 square metre facility is deserted. At the start of the 2020 academic year, the number of apprentices was down by half to 300, with the courses for flight attendants at a complete halt. The number of mechanic and technician students is down by 1/3. The COVID-19 pandemic has seen airlines ground most of their planes as travel has come to a near standstill, significantly diminishing the demand for new employees. Before the health crisis, though, graduates of the school had no problem finding jobs.
Je comprends d'autant plus l'inquiétude en fait de ces jeunes qui étaient avec nous en formation, c'est que s'ils n'exercent pas, ils vont perdre en fait leur habilitation. Donc bon, on espère vraiment qu'ils vont pouvoir reprendre en fait, que le transport aérien va reprendre.
According to the International Air Transport Association, global air traffic was down 2/3 in 2020, and it does not expect a return to 2019 levels before 2024.
That's all for now, Mark.
Kate, thank you very much indeed.